It starts. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Something Like Sober. I'm going to talk as fast as I can today. My name is Jay. We are here with a special guest. Before the microphone goes over to our special guest today, let me tell you some of his accolades. We call him the Godfather, which is pretty cool, man, because, and we'll get to that later, why we call him that. Over, what do we got, 13 years sobriety in this situation? Man, from hopeless to freaking like a triumph thing. You know, in terms of like, what feels good inside and life and how it looks, and got a life that's stable and just like has found all the quality things in life through like getting sober. And like for someone who shoots dope like me and probably like Russell, I know, to like have 13 years of sobriety is absolutely fucking amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only, he was a CIA agent. He's been in the SWAT. No, I'm just kidding. He's the man. Mr. Russell, baby. What's up, Russell?
How's it going, everybody?
It's Russell.
Welcome to the show, dude.
They call me the Godfather. Weird, but
yeah,
never thought I'd be.
I love it, man.
Called that before in my life,
dude. I love it.
Pretty awesome.
I want to say this first is like when I got sober again in Austin, got invited to Boiled, and I love always pointing that out to Russell because Russell held down Boiled, dude, through COVID, everything, and then came there. There was like 4 people at the meeting. And it was like Russell, and I was like, damn, that dude's fucking still here, man. And that just says a lot because it like drew me back. And like, and he's there every Friday, and it's like, that's our like spot. I love it, man. And like, that's where I got to reconnect with you, dude. And so we call him the Godfather because he held it down and he's like the center of it. And I love it, man. So like, yeah, thanks for being on the show today, dude.
Absolutely, man. I'm really grateful to be here, to be honest.
Yeah. He's done podcasts before and and dude, I'm going to point this out too, man. Our dude Russell can rap, and we're not going to put you on the spot because I'm here. He was like, nah, we ain't doing that. We're not doing that shit, man. Today. So yeah, well, thanks for being here. And like, man, I want to know a little bit and try to like, I always try to summarize it because it can get super long, and we want to kind of get in touch with like what's going on in life now. But like, What was it like, dude? And how the hell did it end up where you are today? You know,
dude. The crazy thing is I'm from Austin, Texas, and then I'm driving over here today to do this thing, and I'm thinking about all the moments that I had when I was younger that brought me to a place where I am today, that were like fed my addiction basically early on. So, dude, I started out at like 9 years old. I'm not kidding. Like, my buddy's dad had some weed. He brings it over to my house, and he's like, what's this? And it was like the straight plant. It wasn't like already dried out and all that shit. It was the plant. And so we dried it out, learned the process. Within a month, I'm selling weed at school at like 10 years old.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So,
are you in middle school yet?
No.
Yeah. Dude, 10 years old is like...
I was like in 5th
it's like
grade.
Fifth grade.
Yeah.
5th grade going into 6th or something crazy like that. But anyways, I was thinking about that moment on my way over here because my buddy Dominic, the one I did it with, he ended up going overseas and dying. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's just a trip. It's really weird to get sober in my hometown because I have all those moments where I drive around and I see these places and it brings up these memories. But it allows me to stay in touch with that first step. But man, what it was like, just to preface that, right, is that my first experience, and I started drinking as well, like within the next year or so after that. And I'm selling weed already, dude. Like at 11 years old at school.
Yeah, you're in the game.
I'm starting to feel how it feels to be wanted and needed by other people, which is what I was craving. My parents started to go through a divorce when I was about 11. So a year after that, they're fighting all the fucking time. Shit's weird at home. So I start sneaking out, man, at night and just disappearing. And I run into the older crowd, dude, like people that are like almost 2.5 times my age. You know, they were like in their 20s and I'm about 12 years old. So I start chilling with these people and they're like super accepting of me. And I've created like this family with them. And I think everything took off from there just because like I wanted to feel accepted. And so I did all the cool shit that they were doing, which was not cool. They were doing a bunch of loser shit, you know, selling weed and fucking drinking all night. And anyways, I'm not going to disclose any names or anything like that because a bunch of them ended up getting in a bunch of shit, man.
Trouble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like some serious stuff. But we were moving on to like jacking people's houses and doing crazy shit. And I was like,
Oh, you was robbing people
yeah, dude.
at that early of an age?
Yeah, 12, 13.
Damn, what was your? Did you live with your folks?
I did. My dad wasn't there. He, whenever they divorced, he moved to Fort Worth. So I'm going back and forth. And I'm about to describe the way I learned how to drive here in a second, which is fucking insane.
Oh, shit.
It's fucking nuts. But once that started to happen, man, my mom was working a lot, right? And she wasn't making that much money, and she hadn't worked in 20 years. So my dad was kind of taking care of her. And then they get divorced, and she's like, what do I do? I don't know. So my brother and I'm the youngest of four. My brother's the oldest. And he's already out of the house, like, doing cocaine all the time, doing weird shit. Well, I found a small bag of cocaine in his car one day, and I realized that me and him were kind of on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't really know about cocaine at the time, but I was like, oh, dude, I tasted it, made my whole mouth numb, and I was like, well, that's not right.
Yeah.
That's not sugar, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck.
Shit ain't sweet.
So, anyways, I'm saying that to say that, like, we were both kind of trying to help my mom out at the time. And so we would just kind of sneak money in her sock drawer and just kind of help out when we could.
Yeah.
But we lived off of ramen and, like, lunch meat for years, man. We were pretty poor at that time. My dad, before they got divorced, was going through a hard time. He really couldn't find work. He was a mechanic. So they're divorced, and I'm making trips back and forth on weekends to see my dad. Well, he comes to pick me up one weekend, and he's taking me back to Fort Worth. And he looks over to me. He's like, "I can't drive. We're gonna need to swap." I'm like 11.
And you haven't driven yet?
12. I don't know how to drive a car.
Right. Oh, fuck.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
We're on the highway going 65, 70 miles an hour, and we switched. And he ended up passing out in the seat next to me, dude. And I'm running out of gas, like almost all the way to Fort Worth, probably about 35 minutes out. Running out of gas, I pull off, and it's a standard too. So I slow down, and I'm just like jerking all
Bro.
crazy. Like, I don't
So you
know
just
what's
hopped
going
in the
on.
car and learned how to drive a standard.
A stick shift, dude.
Yeah,
He was the.
baptized by fire, dude. So he wakes up and he's like, downshift. He was super cool about it. My dad's always been super cool. I don't want to trash my dad, but
No.
he was going through a time where he was back in his alcoholism because he was sober my whole life until they divorced. And then he relapsed and went off the deep end. I actually remember finding chips in his, like, change drawers, like 30 days, 90 days, stuff like that, chips sitting in there, which is crazy. It's crazy that I even remember that. But so going from that environment, man, I just sought out the love that I wanted from the streets.
Mm.
I went out and hung out with these people. I sold that dope because people needed me, and to try to, like, justify it, help out my mom and do whatever, right? So anyways, going through middle school, I get kicked out of sports because I can't show up. I'm smoking weed all the time. I think I was in track and football at the time. And I was also in band, and I remember getting picked on, and I hated it, dude, and I was so scared to fight. So I was like, I don't know. I had an epiphany one night, and I was like, look, I'm so scared to fight, so scared to get hit. I need somebody to teach me how to fight. So I found this, like, old Marine dude, and he starts teaching me all this mixed martial arts shit, like, one-on-one after school. And I remember going over there, just getting my ass whooped every day.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you learn, right?
Hell yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And he told me that right off the bat. He was like, we're gonna have to hit each other. Like, this is gonna be super physical, but you'll get over that whole I don't want to get punched thing, like, pretty quick. So anyways, I start doing that, still doing my drug things. I meet this chick who's friends with my best friend, and she goes to another school. Her name was Lauren. That ended up being my daughter's mom a couple years later.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm going hardcore, like I probably shouldn't be going, and I'm ending up spending the weekends with these older people, this older crowd that I was talking about. Spend the night over there, lying to my mom, like blackout drunk most of the time on Friday, Saturday nights. And then I got into pills, dude. Killed everything.
Game changer.
Like, that was it.
That's
I was
where
like,
it went off.
yeah, I was like, this is what I should be doing this whole time. What was I thinking?
You remember that first time you took them pills?
I do, man. I do. I can't remember what happened. I think I I think I got hurt or something like that. And my buddy was like, "Oh, I got these Vicodin." I was like, "I've heard of that. Heard of that? I think
Sounds like a good idea.
I think I'm gonna try that." And that's the fucking weird thing with drugs. Like, I was always like, "Ooh, that sounds interesting," instead of, "No, man, I can't do that. That's gonna fuck up my life."
That's funny how
Like,
that.
I had that total
Yeah.
mental twist.
Yeah,
where
when most people would just be like, "Nah, I'm good."
yeah. So, I mean, I'm like 14, 15 getting into pills. And then after that, that was it. I was like, I want to be a part of this. I want to be all in. Stop selling weed. Now I'm selling pills, doing weird shit. Well, I ended up getting this girl, Lauren, pregnant. And we're like 16 years old, dude. We don't know what the hell that we're doing. And both of our parents are like, "Oh, you guys got to get an abortion." And we're like, "Fuck that. We don't want to do that." So, I started trying to give up everything, man, and work 2 jobs and like be an adult, but I wasn't yet.
Yeah, you were 16 years old.
Yeah, man, I'm 16. So right after we had her birthday's in February. Fallon, my daughter, her birthday was in February. Mine's in March. So I was 16, about to be 17 when I had her. Well, for a few years that worked, right? I was like, you know, from love, I'm gonna like do this and just work real hard and make it happen.
Are you still in school at this point? Or
Yeah, dude, I'm still in high school.
Working jobs.
My teachers were being awesome, trying to help me get all these credits. Man, like, shouts out to Westwood High School in
Let's
Northwest.
go Westwood.
Yeah,
Westwood High School.
Warriors.
Warriors. Let's go.
This one lady, man, she was just like one of those. It's not like a special ed teacher, but she's like, she would help people do studies for the classes that they were lacking, and she was only supposed to do like 1 or 2 classes for each people. Well, she did all of them for me, man. Like, she set me up all the way. Anyways, I get through school, get my high school diploma, man, and I got my wisdom teeth taken out. And guess what they give you when you get your wisdom teeth
Boy,
taken out?
hydrocodone, Vicodin,
Vicodin,
Percocet, whatever, man. Depends how cool the doctor was.
It wasn't that cool. I ended up getting some Norcos or whatever. And
Yeah.
that was it, bro. Like, I went right back into it. So for years after that, I'm doing this roller coaster where I'm up and down, chasing that dragon. I don't want to go into too much detail of that, man, but I end up doing some jail time for weed possession, and I lost everything. And my brother's like, "Dude, you can move in with me." And I was like, "Man, I don't know, dude." And I went back into it, got arrested again. I get out of jail, dude, and I meet this chick the first day I get out at my dope dealer's house, because like, we're friends at this point. I've made him so much money and whatever. We go over to his house to party, and we're at the pool, and I meet this chick, and she's like, "You want some Xanax?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So we hook up, dude. Like, literally, that was it. I didn't have a place to live.
Yeah.
So she like took me in. She's like, "You can come stay with me." And I was like, "All right, cool." Takes me back to her mom's house, who ends up being the dean at ACC. I'm not going to, once again, I'm not going to mention any names.
She's the dean, dude.
Her
She's
mom was at the time. I think she's retired now.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I wasn't gonna like Google her or anything. I'm just like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, that's wild.
So this is the crazy part, dude. Is like, I get all this help from her mom. She like gets me a job. She gets me in school. And I go in the bathroom one day to surprise my girl in the shower, and she's cooking up some heroin on a spoon. And once again, that thought happens where I'm like, "Ooh, that looks amazing.
Yeah.
Let's try that."
Yeah. I wonder what
Instead of
that's like.
running the fuck away, like I probably should have.
Yeah.
I
this is
probably should.
unbeknownst to you. Like, you didn't know she was.
I had no idea,
Yeah.
dude. So, and I remember that thought vividly, because I was like, "That's not normal. Like, that doesn't seem like a
Yeah.
normal thought to have." Where I'm like, "Ooh, I should try that." Instead of, "Oh God, this is gonna ruin my life. I need to break up with her," and bounce.
Yeah.
No red flags whatsoever. It was
Running
intrigued.
this. Yeah.
Crazy. So anyways, I start snorting it at first, and then I'm right back at it, dude. Within a year, I was going to college at the time. I got me a job at this call center where I became a manager at. I'm doing all this cool shit. And the moment that I can't feed this habit anymore, everything burns down. It all burns down. So I quit going to school. I was going to school for music, by the way, commercial music management. Shouts out to producers everywhere. That's what I was going to try to do.
Yeah.
Or at least be like a radio DJ or something of that nature. I always kind of had a vision to be inside of the music industry in some shape or form. So I drop out of college, break up with her, And she was beautiful, dude. And she didn't do anything wrong, you know what I mean? But I was like, because we're together, this is why this is happening. All the externals I was trying to change and nothing was happening. So anyways, we broke up, and then I really went off the deep end. I wasn't seeing my daughter at that time. Her mom was super high as fuck. She's also a drug addict. She was also a drug addict. And man, that was like when everything went downhill within a few years after that. So I lost that place, ended up moving in with my mom for a little while, dude. And I had been drinking so much and taking so many pills one night. I'm on my way to the corner store on a bicycle because I was like, I don't want to drive, whatever, you know, just too fucked up. Well, I park my bike out. It's got a flat tire, and I'm like, I'll put my bike right here. And I'm gonna walk in the store. I got my headphones on. I got this like cooler backpack around me, and I woke up in the hospital. So somebody was coming in late to get beer like me, didn't see me in the parking lot, and straight ran through me.
Damn.
Oh, Jesus.
So yeah, so I almost died that night. But man, the craziest part about that, which I like to include in my story, is that this guy, man, he was on a date with his wife, or now wife, and has kids. At the time, they were just starting to date. There was a Whataburger like right around the corner from that place. So they saw me convulsing, and all this glass around me was glimmering, caught his eye. Well, the dude tries to keep me conscious, gets me to the hospital on time, like 5 minutes before I bled out to death. I'm like 23, 24 years old, 23, somewhere around there, 22, 23. Anyways, man, I wake up to my sister standing in front of me like, what the fuck happened? I'm like, I don't know. I was just going to get some beer.
Yeah, yeah.
8 staples in the side of my head. And this guy plays a role in my sobriety as well. But for a while after that, he kept tabs on me, man. He came over, like, had dinner with me and my mom, like, would call me and check on me and stuff. And I wasn't used to that kind of niceness without somebody wanting something. Because I'm the dope man at the time. Like, people just called me to get stuff. Like, that's all the connections that I had. I had some friends, but even then I was like, man, I don't know if I can trust these people around me because everybody wants something. So anyways, that was kind of the last straw, man. I went off the deep end again. I start making trips to Houston. It's no secret that there's, pill doctors and all that stuff out there. So I took advantage of that, man. And I had revolving, once again, I can't mention any names. I had revolving doctors where I was going to Houston, making trips, coming back, large amounts.
Yeah.
Doing my thing. People running around for me. Switching cars. And that whole game, man, just got twisted up really fast.
I'm sure, dude.
Really fast.
I mean, yeah.
And I start messing with the wrong people that are connected in ways that, once again, I cannot talk about. But I would end up disappearing, if I stopped. And so I had to have a conversation with one of them that could help to change my situation. And I was like, look, dude, I can't do this anymore, man. Like, I can't. And I'm not seeing my daughter at the time. Well, there's this period where it ended, right? I'm probably 3 to 5 months removed from getting in that accident.
Yeah.
I'm taking a bunch of biking in at the time. I have moved away from the heroin, but I've been drinking so much and taking so many pills to try to compensate from that I'm just lost, man. And my girlfriend's in prison, who was basically shooting up meth the whole time. And she's the one that introduced me to the needle, so I took off on the needle as well. And I'm trying to, make myself quit because I can't afford to do it anymore. And it's tearing into my soul. My soul's turning black, man. I talk about my first step experience sitting in the bathroom with the water running. My girlfriend's in the other room. And I'm poking myself over and over again with the needle, crying, just sobbing because I don't know how to stop it. So about a month after that, I go downtown, come back, get a DWI, bond out. 2 weeks later, get another DWI, bond out. 2 weeks later, another DWI.
No way.
45 days.
3 of them.
DWIs. And a possession charge. That first one that I got caught for, I was actually ODing. I got back from Houston, and instead of going home, I decided to go to the bar and drink my ass off and take a bunch of pills, like, because that was smart.
Yeah.
Right. That was the smartest decision I could have made at that time to where my life was. So that was like my last 45 days in, man. I showed up to the court day at the wrong time, smelling like a bunch of Jack Daniels and weed. Because I was out of dope and I didn't know how to feel.
Damn.
But I remember when they, so yeah, I showed up at 9 o'clock. I wasn't supposed to be there till 1 o'clock that afternoon. And I'm high as fuck, dude. And I didn't want to wake up early, you know what I mean? So I was all mad at myself. I was like, fuck, dude, I could have slept in. Well, this lady's like, what's your name again? And as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, I'm fucked.
Yeah, that's not a good.
That's not a good.
Yeah, not when they're. Wait, hold on just a second. Did you say you're Russell?
Yeah. So she goes to the back, and I hand my friend T all my shit, and I was like, hey, like, give this to my mom, give my phone, my wallet, all my stuff. I'm out. Like, I'm done. They pulled me in that back room, the holding tank, man, and I sat there, like, fucking grateful. I was, like, relieved almost. I was
like it's over.
It's over. I don't have to do this shit anymore. But I didn't know where I was going to start, and so I'm a blank canvas at that time. And they're coming at me with crazy amounts of years, bro. They came at me. It was Williams County. They were coming at me with like 40 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting in county for like the better part of nine months to a year. And first offer was 40 because they were going to enhance all my charges to habitual criminal charge, which is 3 strike, you're out rule. Second time, they were like, my lawyer was like, yeah, they can't do that, dude. So I think they're trying to make an example out of you. And I was like, yeah, obviously.
No shit.
I'm not taking that, though.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm doing that. They didn't even charge me with the first one. So anyways, I'm on felony probation when all this happens. Turns out that judge had a child die from DWI accident, man. So she was trying to throw the book at everybody. So my lawyer gets me moved into this other courtroom. Now, let me tell you. So I find out some years later that the judge had 20 years sober. The bailiff was like 7 or 8 years sober. The secretary had like 2 or 3 years. So all these people are in there trying to help people like me. Well, my lawyer comes to me and he's like, hey, I'm the son of an alcoholic, man. You need help. And I broke down right in front of him. I was like, yes, I need help. So they bring this drug evaluation lady in. Dude, I told her my story and she cried. She straight up cried in front of me, and it made me cry because I was like, damn, I guess my life was a little
rockier than
unorthodox.
You know, I'm leaving out a lot of the vulgar situations that happen because there's no need to talk about that. Yeah. But you get the gist of where I came from, right? So anyways, that judge ends up giving me this deal. He's like, okay, I'm gonna extend your probation an extra like year or two once you get out. You got to do long-term treatment. Got to do it. And then, it basically a year and a half worth of time because I was already in there for about 6 months 6 months worth of time to them. So they added a year on. I finished that pretty easily. Most of it was in county. I had to transfer to a ISF unit, which is, it's a minimal security deal. But anyways, I ended up going to a long-term treatment center called Central Texas Treatment Center. Shouts out to anybody who's ever been through that. Shit's crazy.
What kind of, is this a state-funded?
Yeah, so it's state-funded, but it's also like a cognitive program, man. They don't just do the steps. Like, you go through a cognitive, I forgot exactly what it's called, but it's a program where you're also working on your belief systems, what brought you to this point in your life, and then also to help build your goal system back up, like just allow you to be the best version of yourself. So anyways, I go through that, I get out, and I meet that guy that saved me. I was at Black Friday with my brother, and this girl, she's like, Russell, and I turn around, I'm like, what? Yeah. Do I know you? She's beautiful. So I'm like, okay, hey, how's it going?
Hello.
And I see the kids running around. She goes, do you remember me? Me and Eric still talk about you at the dinner table. And I was like, what? So Eric comes over. He's this big-ass Mexican dude. Like, probably 6'3", 6'4". Like, just gigantic for no reason. Mm-hmm. Probably one of the biggest that I've ever met. Like, in that body type. Anyways, super sweet dude, man. full on God fearing guy, really respectful. Comes over, gives me a big old hug. Well, she looks at me and she goes, "Yeah, we still talk about you at the dinner table because you were the first one." And I was like, "Wait, the first one? Like, what do you mean?" She goes, "Oh yeah, we found about 16 other people on the brink of death like you."
Oh, wow.
Or Eric has. And I was like, "What?
What?
This dude's an angel, man.
You do saving
Yeah.
people. You're
Straight
trying to
up,
save
he's out here
people.
saving lives."
Yeah.
That is so wild. And then I go back and shake the judge's hand. You know, I'm about 3-4 years sober. I go shake the judge's hand. I'm like, "Man, thank you so much for what you did."
Damn.
And that's when I found out they were all sober. I had no idea.
That judge told you some information then? Or
Yeah, he was like, you know, at the time, we were this year sober, and he just starts going around the courtroom, and he was like, "Man, this is what we're all here for." And now I really understand that. That's what it's all about, is trying to give it back. At 4 years sober, my daughter's mom passed away.
That's tough.
And that shit killed me, man. Since then, I've watched so many people die, dude, because of this deal. That shit kills people. But me and my daughter never really worked out a full way to have our relationship. You know, I've spent time with her on and off. But man, I have been able to thrive in my career for the last 10 years. I went and did my rap thing for a long time. That writing helped me get through some emotional times that I didn't really know how to process.
Sure.
Because, you know, your emotional state isn't really there
No.
Yeah.
when you first get sober, so you don't really know what to do. But yeah, man, I can get into all of the good things of what it's like now, but I don't want to take up too much.
No, I want to know the good stuff too.
Yeah. You know, one of the things we like to talk about is, you know, we obviously we want to hear everyone's background stories because, you know, it shines a light of hope for a lot of those people out there that are still struggling, and a lot of those people that are sitting there just like, well, these guys never had it as bad as I did. You know what I mean? And then when you hear other people's stories, you can identify with that and be like, holy shit, you know, this guy's done that and then some.
Yeah.
But, you know, in addition to that, you know, what does your life look like now? Like what are some of the things, you know, other than, you know, everybody works the program, everybody has their own program, but what are some of the things that you have instituted in your life that are keeping you on the straight and narrow? Or what are some of the passions that you have? Or, I mean, really, like what does your life look like that's keeping you the way that you are?
Simply the good things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Talk about.
Oh, dude, there's so many.
I know.
There's so many. It's crazy. So I went back to that treatment center, man, and that's when my H&I life started. Because I went back there to give back and like bring this meeting. Because I remember the guys that brought the meetings. I was like, these people are awesome. You know, they're soldiers. They're angels. So I did that for years, dude, like 4 or 5 years. And I fell in love with that aspect of this deal, man.
And yeah, not to cut you off, but for anyone who doesn't know, H&Is are for hospitals and institutions. It's where people like us go, and people who have recovered from addiction, you know, go and speak, you know, to a large amount of people, or, you know, people who are in treatment centers and kind of provide their stories like Russell's done just now. So just to clarify, but sorry, man, sorry to interrupt you.
I probably should have broke it down. I shouldn't just assume that people know what H&Is are, right? But yeah, dude, it started off rough, man. I was taking the bus everywhere. I didn't have a license because I had gotten so many. My license had been suspended so many times for driving without insurance prior to that.
Nice.
Prior to my arrests and stuff. So I got out, dude, and I had to wait like 2.5 years to drive. So I ended up getting a car, but I had to park it right in front of my sober house and see that bitch every day. And I was so mad about it. I was like, damn it, man. I got to do the right thing. I got to live by some principles now. I'm looking at this car like I want to take this car to work. I want to take the bus. But man, that humility really was on high levels the first couple years. I'm riding the bus around. I'm riding the bus to meetings, which was crazy. Ended up doing like 110 meetings in 90 days because I didn't know what to do with my life. Like that.
That's a commitment, man.
Yeah, dude.
That is a commitment.
Like that Will Ferrell movie where he's like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, dude. That's how I felt. I didn't know what to do with my life. So, man, I got hooked into the fellowship, and that became my higher power when I first got out of treatment. And I remember that feeling, man. I was like, man, I really feel part of. Like, this is what I've been chasing my whole life. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I belonged. I felt like I was home. And that woke me up. I was like, dude, I need to do more of this. And I also didn't know what to do. So I'm like asking all these people I look up to, like, what do I do in sobriety, dude? Like, what do you do in sobriety? Are we all just bored as fuck all the time? Is that how this is?
Yeah.
Because
And
if
it's
that's
not.
how it is, I don't want nothing to do with
Yeah,
it.
I was like, I'm walking away. I can't be a part of this. So man, I get hooked up. We start doing like these sober volleyball tournaments and like all this crazy shit, man. Softball, camping. Um, dude, there's so many unity events. It's ridiculous. Like Jay knows about all that. We actually talked about sober in the park and recovery in the park and a few other things.
Yeah.
So I get connected with that, man. I'm jumping around from job to job. I really don't know what to do. And then I come across, so I finally regained some trust in my family. My sister and my brother-in-law own this little company out here called Emerald Lawns. And so I start working for them, man. And sure enough, I was like, I'm going to apply myself more than I've ever applied myself. And started practicing the principles at work. And that was when I actually started to do something with my music as well. Now, that was super vital to my recovery. I was able to really express myself. We ended up doing like a little tour in California and stuff like that. But
If you want the link, man, I got him, and it's dope. I'm not even kidding, dude. I was telling you the other day, is like, I was a mutual friend that we have, and he's like, you know, Russell rapped, and I was like, what? I was blown away.
yeah, dude.
And he was like, check this shit out, dude. And we were on FaceTime, and dude, did you know FaceTime you can screen share? So he like pops YouTube on, and we're both watching it with sound in two different places together on the screen.
I didn't know you.
And I was like, wait, this dude pops on there with a guitar, and all of a sudden Russ was like in the fucking alley, dude, just getting it. It was, I don't know if it was like so much.
I gotta hear this shit, man.
Dude, it's dope. And I told Russell this. I was like, seriously, I'm going into this. I'm like, I don't know about this. Like, I didn't know if Russell could
Of
rap.
course.
I mean, you know,
Yeah,
honestly,
people say that.
you know,
It's a thing.
might not be the right color, man. You know, and I'm not saying the white dudes can't rap. I'm just saying, you know, and I was like, and he started rapping. I'm like, oh shit, we just watching. And I was like, oh, that's how I knew it was good, because we were like, damn, this good, man. So like, and I get that you found an outlet to express yourself, and I think that's super, super important. So like, I wish we could connect more people to an outlet. Music is I love music, you know, or whatever it is. I think you got to explore more of yourself, because you know, a lot of those things you love to do disappeared. And so you're like, when you're learning your emotions is one thing, and then you got to learn a lot of things over and over. I mean, things you enjoyed, and like things that you've in your mind have tainted down to be like, I don't want to do those things. But it's really like the drugs has like suppressed that so much. You really don't know yourself at fucking all. And so you're learning everything.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I kept looking in the mirror like, oh man, my self-esteem's ruined. You know, I didn't even think I was attractive enough to have a beautiful woman that would actually love and respect me and whatever. So I'm just like doing all the things wrong. First off in sobriety, man. And I did the best I could, dude. But my favorite part was learning about the fellowship and how that connection right there can allow me another outlet to express myself. Because it wasn't just about the music. It was more about being able to share it instead of just write it down like that. Because I could write it down all day. I had been writing poems my whole life, so I just ended up turning that into hip-hop music later. But man, the roughest part was finding out who the fuck I am. Like, who am I without drugs? Who am I supposed to be? And the cool part is I could be whoever the fuck I want to be. It didn't have to be, you know what I mean? It didn't have to be this certain stigma or like the percentile of heroin addicts that actually survive is depressing.
No, it's incredibly little.
It's depressing.
Incredibly small. Yeah.
To look at those numbers, and I didn't want to be a damn statistic, dude. So something snapped in me when my daughter's mom passed away, and it just propelled me into this next level of recovery. And I was really grateful for that, but also super sad at the time. And I believe that's probably what pushed me and my daughter away a little bit. Either way, there's a lot of other things that happen there. Continuously try to reach out to her, of course, because she's an adult now. I can't make her come see me, but I can still tell her that she's loved.
Absolutely.
But man, nowadays, so I've been at my career for 10 years. I've gotten several certifications on my own. Texas Department of Agriculture certification. I'm a horticulturalist, so I'm all about plants. Shout out to Plant Life.
Let's
There it
go.
Right on.
is. Working on my arborist certification right now, and I've already taken tests a few times, man. It's super hard, but I just fell in love with that side of life, man. Giving back to life was my mission once I got sober, and really continues to be that. Is just trying to feed back into the stream of life. I really take that literally. So yeah, man, it's been so beautiful. I got married 3 years ago. My beautiful wife. Shouts out to my beautiful wife.
Yeah, shout out.
He,
Yeah, he talks about you a lot. It's cool. Though. It's interesting to see that facet of things too. That's the thing about Bold, man, and the meeting that we have is, it's a good spot when people are like talking about living in active recovery and how it's applying to life right now and specific and present, and that's talking about our relationships and how we navigate that. So like, I love, that's a reason too. It's just like there's their solution and all that, and like the fact that you found this beautiful relationship from all this stuff and continue to like work on that is pretty badass, So
the more weird part is that it's been healthy since
that's crazy.
the beginning of the
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah, right.
Like we became friends before we ever even dug into anything, which is weird, bro. Like 3 months, I think, before we actually even started to get physical,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
It's not how shit normally goes.
No, it's never like that.
You can relate to that.
Yeah, dude, I'm like I've tried it all out, I think.
Jay's like, no comment.
Yeah.
No comment there.
That's super interesting. Yeah, so like what's that? I mean, so the relationship, is it, I guess what I'm trying to say is let's tie this. Did you ever think when you were, I guess, younger, could you look at your life forward and be like,
No.
this is what I wanted, or this is what I was gonna have or deserve? Well, I mean, you know what I mean? Is it like, or is it just this is a total like, what's going on in life? Like this is beautiful, and I never thought this was You kind of see what I'm trying to lay down there?
I have those thoughts all the time, dude. All the time. Like I'm on my way to work. I'm like meditating because I'm a homeowner now, which is crazy.
Just
That's insane. All my 10-year goals that I made in treatment, they happened.
bam.
Like it all happened, plus some more. But yeah, I never imagined that I would have like relationships like this too, where I'm like connected to someone, and we don't have to chill all the time. But
Yeah.
I know that if I called you,
Yeah.
like you'd be there,
Yeah.
and that's beautiful, man. There's not too much of that in life anymore. I feel like a lot of us are just passing by, and we're having these like surface level conversations, man, when we could be just digging in. And like, why don't we just do that? Why don't we be vulnerable all the time?
That'd be awesome.
What's the
wouldn't it?
worst that could happen?
That would be fucking
Get your
awesome.
feelings hurt every now and then? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. Bruise your ego up a little bit,
On purpose?
Yeah.
To get humbled?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we all need.
I
sometimes.
agree. No, I absolutely agree.
So I'm about that life, man. I'm really about helping other people to find that, share my experience. I really walked away from music, man. I had a moment where I was like, I don't really want to be in clubs and shit. I don't want to be touring all over the U.S. Like, that's
Yeah,
not,
you weren't.
that's
you
not
shut
where
that
my
down?
life was headed.
Yeah.
I don't mind I love making music, man, and I love the whole writing process and everything else about it. But I was like, man, I really don't want to just be away from family and also be in a position where I could relapse. Like, that's important to me not to do that anymore in my life. So that's why I walked away from that, man. But to be honest, the relationships are great. Me and my family are super close, which is weird. My sister just moved back from Mexico. She's been living out there for like 15 years. Tour guide, 5 different languages, super smart. Lived in paradise, did her whole little travel thing. Had my nephew, and he's 5 now, so he's going into school. And that's their whole goal, was to move him here so that they could put him in a good school.
Yeah.
And also be close to family and all that good stuff. So we're best friends, man. So it's cool to have her back in town. And I remember it really touched me when you shared about your sister recently.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's how we are.
That's wild.
If she tells me something, like, I really listen to her. And she actually called me this morning super tired. She's like, oh, my God, she's a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
So
she's exhausted.
She's worn out, dude. And I'm just like, man, my hat's off to you. Like, I don't know if I could do that. And she goes, but you do that all the time. That's literally your job. And then you're doing that in sobriety, like you're a teacher. And that's my point, is like I walked away from music to put more passion into teaching. And so now I'm actually teaching people at my job. I'm able to do that in real life and really not even try. Just try to share my experience, man. And hopefully I can uplift some people. And that's what I live for today, man. That is like the
Right on.
epitome of my life, is to like really just try to give it back.
Yeah, it's like it's like when we for the first time, tapping into some, form of purpose and like truly knowing what purpose feels like. That's different, right? Because you sit down across from someone and you ask them what purpose is, and they start picking out these things that's like, wow, I want to be this. It's all these I wants, and my career, it needs to look like this, really, for me to like, that's what purpose means, accomplishment. We tie it to like these things, these worldly things that have been told to us, or like that we see and we think that's important. And like, I think purpose is that's what you talked about, like scratching the surface level, even in conversation.
It's huge.
It's huge. It's deeper than that. It's an internal connection to something that's actually absolutely outside of yourself, doing good for someone else, and like maybe a group of people, or people that are coming in from whatever, all walks of life, without expecting anything in return, and knowing that there might be a chance, or might not be, that you get to help someone change their absolute life. And here's the trick to it, is if maybe they come and listen to you say something one day that they needed to hear, or maybe it's from you, for like me, you showing up. I can't tell you, I know that seems minor to you probably.
No, that's
but
huge.
The fact that I get to see
really
you
huge,
show up time after time after time and talk, and that's consistency, that lit a fire under my ass to be like, dude, like the dude does this shit. And it's like, and I have the personality where I like try to prove everybody wrong. Like that dude's got to be full of shit. There's no reason he's that happy. There's no reason that he's still here. Like this is a come and go program. Like eventually you grow up or graduate. You know what I mean? Like when I say grow up, I say graduate from it, or whatever. So you very rarely see people sustain it, especially just normal people who are doing it, because otherwise they get into treatment, work in it, and then they go into that like sector of all things. So like to see you consecutively show up, it's like, this man is more so tapped into his purpose than anyone I've probably ever been around, which is attractive to me. And so I'm like, I'm going back. And then it gets bigger. And then you show up and you get to see God do the crazy things. And it's like 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, 15, 20. Yeah. And I mean, and it's consecutive. And then you got a fellowship afterwards. And you're like wondering like why you feel so good. It's because you're tapped into purpose. And the truth is, it's not your purpose. It's God's purpose. And his purpose is so much bigger than yours.
Yeah, man.
It's beyond our understanding.
And it's good stuff.
One of the things I want to talk about just a little bit is, and you highlight it so well in your story, is the craziness of addiction, or how it convinces you to keep coming back. And, one of the things that I heard, over and over again was like, I mean, your upbringing and getting in trouble, 3 DWIs, and you go back out. Then you get hit by a car, you go back out, you get all these opportunities, you get back in school, you meet the dean, you go back out. And it's just like everybody who's never been addicted, or, we call them normies, would say, well, why didn't you just stop? Like things are going so well. Why didn't you just stop? Like, I mean, you could see how bad things were going. And, all of our stories, have a lot of similarities in that light, to where it's just like, dude, why didn't you just stop? And it's just like, dude, I couldn't. I literally couldn't. I lost the power of choice. And, I think that it's just one of those things that's so misunderstood within, when people who are not addicted are looking at people who are struggling. And they're just like, look, all you have to do is just tough it out for a couple of days.
That's funny to me now.
And, but they don't understand the mental obsession. It's just like, and even early on in sobriety, that first year out, it's just like, you were talking about, man, I had to rediscover who I was. I had to you're going out, you're starting life fresh, pretty much. I mean, fuck, man, you started when you were 9, like,
yeah, man, when you say it like that.
And you're going back out and you're relearning how to do all these things. And you're just like, I mean, my number one thing that always brought me back was like, alcohol was my jet fuel. That was like, I couldn't do anything without, like, I mean, yeah, sure, I could go to work and do a good job, or I could go, hang out with friends or whatnot, but I could also do it and have more fun while I was drinking. Or I could be better at it than when I was.
Yes.
If I went out, I was just par. If I was drinking, I was way higher.
Yeah.
Dude, that's always our thought.
Yeah.
That's the thought of an alcoholic drug addict.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
generic-
this would be better if
Yeah,
yeah.
I was on like 6 Molly and took a bunch of painkillers.
Yeah.
That
Right.
sounds amazing.
exactly. I could be at my
Normal
peak physical
people
performance.
don't think like that.
No.
That's not a thought that normal people have. They're like, I think I'm gonna go to work fucked up today.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna
And
do better.
I'm gonna do great.
I'm gonna be better at it.
So
Things will work out.
how long did it take? Or I mean, when you started when you finally
He loves this stuff. It's like
That's hilarious.
I know. Go ahead. Continue.
yeah.
Continue.
How long did it take for you at least before you started realizing like, man, I'm doing this sober and I'm kind of enjoying it. And like, I mean, there's always going to be that little thought in the back of your head that always is like, man, I could do this better if I had fucking, a handful of
Right,
painkillers and, some blow and, a little bit of this and that. But how long did it take before you really started building confidence in yourself?
Oh man, I was one of those, dude. That whole year before I got to treatment, like it was the worst time of my life because I was just dry. I didn't have a solution. And I had like at the point learned about some step work and like some ways to self-help myself inside of there, but like it didn't do shit. It took me about 3 years, man. Not gonna lie, 3 to 4 years. I remember I was getting my 4th year chip and my mom was there, dude. And I look over, she's crying. I lost it, and I was like, I'm at Club 101, like just crying my eyes out. And I was super embarrassed and like, felt like a big old gigantic pussy because I'm sitting there crying. But at the same time, man, I was really proud of what I was doing, and I didn't know how to feel about it at the time. But looking back, I'm like, man, I'm really glad I went through those hard times. Because I was still lying in relationships and like, not sure of who the fuck I wanted to be. I was like, look in the mirror and hate myself still at like 2-3 years sober. And I feel like that shit's natural. I feel like it's natural to go through those times where you're going through growing pains in your emotional and spiritual life. And so you're pushed or accelerated into this place where you're growing really fast and you don't really necessarily know who you are. And I think a lot of our old beliefs, mine at least, come back up in those situations because I'm like, man, I'm not good enough. I'm just a dope fiend. I'm not worthy of love or whatever it is. I told myself so many things, man. Hated on myself so much. And that was part of the thing is that's why I wrote, so I could get all that away from me. And it helped me to keep it at bay for a while. But to be honest, man, I would go through these times where I wouldn't do the inventory, or I wouldn't do this, and I just fall right back into it. But I think the thing that helped my self-esteem the most, because that was the worst part.
Yeah.
I was like, man, you're an ugly piece of shit.
Self-hate and self-doubt.
And you're fat, and like you're worthless, Go to the gym, bro. What are you doing? So I did. I went to the damn gym, and I probably hit it too hard, and I turned it into my higher power, and I stopped doing the things that I needed to do.
And see, that's a real thing as well.
Oh, dude, it's very real. Yes.
It's people who are, when you're fresh out of treatment, you're searching for a higher power.
Absolutely.
And you start using external things like going to the gym or, hyper focusing on, diving back into work or, doing something to where it clogs your attention up or, takes up all your attention, and you start focusing less on the important things.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's crazy how that works, man. And I'm bringing up all these questions because I'm trying to kind of explain that to somebody who's coming into this. Somebody who may be questioning it, or somebody who's looking at taking this challenge on, and trying to explain to them what to expect.
Let me tell you what to expect. It's gonna suck ass. Dead ass. It's like
real bad. Yeah.
I think I don't know. It's like the more I try to describe it to someone, number one, I don't know if you can. Like I don't think there's a. Sometimes I think it's like you need to have this experience. If you're truly an addict or alcoholic, whenever you decide to jump on the road, like number one, like look and see that people are sober and believe that they are. Like you need to see somebody or doing this thing to know that it's to gain hope, and like that's the most powerful word I think of all time is hope.
It's huge.
But you got to experience it. So you need to first see that it's possible. So that's looking at someone like Russell and saying, dude's got 13 years of sobriety. He just explained his story, and it's absolutely possible to be sitting with where he is explaining all these grateful things that he's for in life, and that like the God thing that he connected to and is that powerful. But at the same time, it's I wish that we could sit here and just be like, here's a step-by-step guide that makes you like, because it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't, man.
It doesn't go like
There's
that at
no
all.
instruction manual.
No, there's not.
There's not a formula.
No, it's not. It's like for me, I had to get like desperate enough to like actually be able to listen for the first time.
See, and that's the instruction manual, is finding someone you can trust and believe in, and then just doing what they did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's
let me try what they did first, or let me do this thing, or let me switch it up to that real quick. Like, it's
and
all
I think
trial
that's
and error.
I think
Trial
that's
and
the
error.
thing too, is like with this, it's you can go and look at any brochure, pamphlet, you can go online and search for all these professionals within our like group and like within addiction. The truth is like it's the people.
It's always the people, dude.
It's the people that have been through it and are in it and are actually continuing to show up for this thing. That there is where you're gonna find your stuff. You know, it doesn't have to cost you $100,000.
No.
You know?
It's the people, it's the relationship, it's the fellowship, like
boy.
you said. You know,
The fellowship is important. And like, so I guess my main question is this: like, what keeps you coming back?
It's that somebody did that for me. And so every time I'm like, man, I don't want to go to this meeting, or I don't want to go meet up with the sponsee, or I don't want to go meet up with my sponsor. I don't want to call that fucking dude because he's just going to yell at me. I'm like, bro, like, somebody was this for you. Like, be that guy. Be that example in life for somebody to see that the shit works. Because you had to show me. I wasn't going to believe you, right? That, oh, man, I got this and that. And I'm like, yeah, sure, bro. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Congratulations.
Great job. You're over there snorting cocaine. Let's be real about this.
Yeah.
So I saw it and I got it proven to me. And I love to be a shining, living example of that proof, man, that this works, dude. And that our spirits can be raised. We can have hope. We can have purpose. We can thrive in life without having a whole bunch of material stuff in our life. Like, just be who we are. And so that motivates me, man. Just thinking about that. And also things like you said, you know, like when people are like, man, dude, you've been here forever, or man, it's so cool to see you're still here. Like, those are what keeps me, that's what keeps me going, dude. People are just like, man, you showed up. What's up?
Yeah.
This is great. I relapsed, came back twice already, and you're here.
Yeah.
That's, as much as that sucks, being like, yeah, I'm still here. It's also pretty amazing, man. It's a double-edged sword, but it's helped me turn into the man that I want to be. And that's part of the deal, is like, who do I want to be today? I just want to be the best version of myself I could possibly be.
Yeah.
And how do I get there?
Yeah.
And so that's a daily mission for me. And I try to live right there. Because the moment I'm like, who do I want to be in a month? I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I can't think about that.
Yeah.
I got to think about right now or this week or tomorrow. So I try to live right there.
Yeah, and I think people like struggle with that answer, like, because not me, because I get it, you know, because I'll try to explain that to someone, you know, I'm like, you're like, what do you want to be in a year? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's a terrible question to
Don't
answer.
ever ask me that
Yeah,
again.
no, because if you do, and if I ask myself that and have to like create an answer, I'm going to fuck that up, dude.
Yeah.
And I might make it sound good, like, oh yeah, I'd love to have this, but like, it's interesting when you just live within like the direction of like what God's will looks like versus yours. Like, it's gonna turn out a million times better.
Huge.
It's that big of a deal, you know. And so it's like dude, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. You're like, you being there and me seeing, because I am the one that left and I came back years later, and you're the one that's like, I'll keep saying it's still there. And it's like, I had hope reintroduced into my life for the first time by like the Damians, and he's a mentor, and I love that man, dude.
Yes,
and
that was amazing.
it meant the world to me that he came and gave me my chip the other night. Like, dude, it's just like, that dude sat with me, dude, and like, he sat with me in my darkest time and told me it was gonna be okay, even though I didn't believe it. And I was like, all right. And he's like, no, you don't know, but I do. you know, and he knew, and he believed in me. And it's like, and then I got pushed on into the world, and I came there, and then there's you, and there's no fucking way this guy's there, dude. You know, and I used to be scared of Russell, dude. He had like this fucking more of a mohawk thing going on, and I just like would never approach him. And that's just another thing to show about my own like judgment and insecurities and fear, and like come across, and like Russell's the type of dude this is what I've noticed in recovery is like people. Our egos do get involved. Russell's one of the most humble people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Like he's got 13 years sober. Normally people are like, they end up putting themselves on this pedestal, echelon, and maybe they don't even know what's happening. But Russell like sits in the middle of the group. He brings the chairs. He still has service positions. He's like the most generous. He listens and gathers from other people still. Like it's that stuff is like the goods. That is the image and like should be the centerpiece of what this program is like. Is a man like you. You know what I mean? It's men like you and Damien, those type of. And I just said it because that's my experience with who I'm around now. And like, it's men like you that make me want to be a better man. You know, it's like, you know what? I don't have to do this anymore. I can live this way, and I can be in freedom, and I can feel this peace and understand true gratitude. And it's not about me. You know, it's like, it's about sitting back and like, every time someone new comes to that group, dude, I'm like, yes. You know, it's like, I've noticed like the more attention, it's gratitude. Yeah. And like I learned today, I don't know if there's any more superpower in the world than gratitude. I think could be the most beautiful thing one could ever truly experience is true gratitude. And like you've shown me that, dude. And like you're living in the thing that you said you wanted to do and that you're doing when you put down music or whatever. It's like, I want to help other people. Like, I'm sitting here telling you right now, that's what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Getting goosebumps.
And it's a beautiful thing. And that's that whole group that's created there, you know, at Boiled, and those men, dude. It's like, and I'm not trying to put like pressure on your shoulders, because it's not that, because you don't take the you don't have to. It's just like you share your truth and experience, and others are like, and God shows through you that it's believable because it's true. And genuineness and authenticity are the most attractive thing in the world. It's like a magnet.
I believe that too. I'm about that life.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, I know you are. And we got to have more men like you, dude. We got to have more men like you, you know? And it's like,
there needs to be a drive to do it without recognition, man. Like, that's not what we're here for.
Yeah,
it's cool to get recognized for like your sobriety, stuff like that, because that helps you motivate yourself to do more. But what I'm saying is like showing up and being like, oh yeah, so in my 13 years and like doing that thing, I don't want to be that guy. I've heard that guy in meetings, and that's the one that when I first came in, I was like, there's no fucking way this dude's got 16 years of sobriety, dude. He's lying. I'm serious. I was like, this dude's lying. That's not possible. I just did not believe that could actually exist. And the first guy I saw get over 10 years sobriety chip was at Club 101. I don't know if I can shout out places here.
Yeah, we don't.
Sure, yeah.
I love that place.
Yeah, get it 101. Let's go.
Yeah, 101. Yeah.
Bull does now the Arboretum 7 p.m. on Fridays.
There it is. Come holler at us. But dude, I remember looking at that guy's eyes, and he was shining, dude, like just glowing. And I was like, where do I get that from?
Yeah.
Like, how do I tap into
How do I bottle that up?
I need that right there. And he's so happy. And I was like, man, that's super cool. So I actually truly believed him. And so that's what I really just try to, man, I gained the realism is what I call it. Like, instead of the alcoholism, traded the alcoholism in for realism. Like, now, I'm not trying to be like super brash about life. I just approach it in a realistic stance, man. Like, so I don't set up expectation from or resentments from expectations that I placed on things.
Yeah,
and just ruin it or shit on something that has, like you said, humility is important. So I have to be super grateful for the shit that I have today. Or like could take it for granted, man. I'll take my friends for granted. I'll take my family for granted. I'll take the job that I have for granted. Sobriety, everything. So gratitude is huge. It's a superpower.
I agree.
For sure.
Like you said.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree. It's like if you can be grateful, just wherever you're at in your life, right now, whatever moment you're in or I am, if you can be grateful right now, you know, you can that can apply to absolutely everything, even in the darkest of times or whatever. If you can learn gratitude, I think it's like exponential.
Everything.
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's absolutely everything, man.
And it teaches you so much. That's why I always chased things that brought me humility. You know, like working out at first was really hard for me because I didn't have the stamina. I wasn't strong enough. I was like 204 when I got out of treatment, and I'm like 5'9", so that's not cool. Kind of chubby, right?
Little bit of chub there.
So like I chased that, man, and I had to figure out how to balance that. It's like everything. I went to too many meetings for a while, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm using this as my sobriety, and that's not really where sobriety is. And then even like, I think I was about 6 years in, and my sponsor was like, just go to meetings and listen. Don't fucking share anything. And I was like, what, dude? He's like, yeah, don't share. Just listen. Because I had a problem actually processing what was going on around me, and he helped me. It didn't last a whole year. But like, the point is that I got that guidance, and I was humbled by that. I was allowed the opportunity to listen. And that's when I first started going to Boiled, actually. Which was so many years ago, probably 8 years ago. God, I'm getting old in this deal. But yeah.
You remember Boiled when it was huge. Like,
oh, dude, 80 people in a room.
Yeah.
Standing room only. Like, it was wild.
Damn.
Now it's precious to me, though. Like,
yeah, it's a lot better now.
I just like the, oh, man.
It was a Peacock show back in the day.
Yeah. The few times I've been, it's been, 12, 14 guys, which is great.
We're up more than that now, unfortunately. I say,
yeah, you guys are growing pretty.
It's all it's
right. Fortunately and unfortunately.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it, dude. Because I just
quaint,
like
it's like that
experience.
little secret.
Dude, there's just something special about pulling up there and seeing the people that you see every week, and like just being like happy, truly joyous, and like free. I know that's a weird, but like to be like, dude, there's Russell. What's up, Russ? And it's a hug, and it's how you doing, and they mean it, and they want it. They're
Jay's
interested
there
in your life.
guns out.
Yeah.
Like, what's up, y'all?
Yeah, and it's like we don't. And Russ said it best when I first started coming. He still said it to this day. It's like we don't take ourselves too seriously, and I think that's important, man.
So
it's like,
important, dude.
This is not a. We're not. We do what we do, and we do it right, but we don't do it to like. Just to like check boxes. We're doing it to like keep up with each other and truly share and get perspective and gain from each other. And there is no like, it's no one above anybody. It's like we're there as like a true unit, man. And I believe in it. That's like I believe in you. Yeah. And I believe in that place. And so
that's what fuels us all, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So like you were asking, what would I say to somebody coming into this deal? I would say just grab a hold and never let go. Like, that's how you win.
Yeah.
The moment you let go of those ideals, dude, it's a snowball.
It's nosedive.
I've watched it happen so many times.
Before we let Drew close us out here, I just will say this: if you were say someone that's in starting and they are early in sobriety, what's some of the greatest advice maybe someone gave to you or that you could give to someone? I think holding on tight and not letting go is great. Is there anything else that you would say that could just really, like maybe was something that flipped the switch for you, or something that made you believe? Or
somebody came to me fresh in sobriety and was like, you're worth it, and you don't ever have to get high again. And I just remember taking a deep breath like, oh, fuck. I was like, I can't believe people keep telling me that. But if that time it was said to me, it really set in. And that's when I realized that I had to have fun, because if I didn't have fun in sobriety, I wasn't going to stay sober. And so that's when I got connected. So my advice is just have fun with it, man. Explore yourself. Like, what do you have to lose? You could try to go through all this stuff and do all these steps in this inventory. And if after you do all the things, then you want to go get high or drunk, go do it. But try it first. That's
do it
my
some
best
time.
advice.
Yeah,
just try it.
That's
keep
good
coming
stuff.
back, man. Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, that's all the time that we have today. And, as always, want to give a shout out to all of our listeners. Please check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Spotify. This is Jay. This is Drew on Something Like Sober. And again, Russell, thank you so much for being here, man.
Absolutely.
It's been an honor and a privilege listening to your story and Really, it's one of the more powerful ones we've heard.
Yeah.
And
was
that's gonna
beautiful
reach
to
out to a lot of people. And so, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, dude.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man.
Absolutely.
And always hook 'em horns.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey, boy.
oh boy. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Good stuff, dude. You gotta hit the button, Drew. You gotta hit.